got a Febby mount, part 2112 402617. I got it from Auto House AZ because they're pretty cheap, and this particular mount was one of the cheaper ones on the list. Okay, I'm measuring this distance from this lip right there to the lower part of the timing belt cover. That little black mark is 1 inch. I am right at 1 1/8 inches, and Jim says this distance should be 5/8. So I am, what, I'm 4/8. Well, I guess I'm a 1/2 inch high. Low. So I'm loath to do this, but I'm going to loosen the cradle bolts and jack it up a little bit and try to set that to 5/8. Hopefully that won't be too tedious. I think this is the right way to do this. I'm going to jack up the cradle, not the engine. Obviously the cradle is pulling down on the frame right now. I'm going to try, but if I jack it up very much, it will eventually start lifting the frame. I'll start lifting the frame via the cradle. So I'm going to jack it up a little bit to where I think it's kind of neutral. Then I'm going to loosen these bolts, or jack it up a little bit more, maybe so that the engine raises a 1/2 inch or so, and then tighten the bolts down. And so what I've done here, this ain't the coolest thing I ever did. I took my Dremel and cut a slot into the bottom of this bolt. Oh, buddy. So that I can hold it like that. Because getting in through that hole is really annoying, and I think that's going to be a good idea. So now I'm sitting right about 3/4, very close to in spec. I don't know if that was worth it, but hopefully it'll help. Okay, I feel like some other people take this edge lip down a little bit, and I'm going to have to do that probably. So it's just not going to fit at all. It's not a big deal. Okay, drilled the holes. I think I drilled them a little low. I don't know why it says 7/16 because the screws are only, smaller. But it's fine, gives you a little wiggle room. I had to slide the backing plate all the way in from over here, and I do recommend a punch because that sheet metal is pretty tough. And yeah, your bit's going to be walking around quite a bit if you don't punch it. Anytime you're drilling through something, it's good to know what's behind there. These big old bundles of wires are behind there, so be careful. Trying to line this thing up really sucks. I finally got the punch and stuck it in there in this little hole, in the hole in the backing plate, and then kind of found the back hole and then holding it there real tight in order to just line it up. That helped a lot. Okay, definitely understand why he says 7/16. I did 3/8 and it was fine, but yeah, you definitely need some wiggle room in there. It sucks. Order of operations is, I don't understand it, but I put in the top part first, and then attached that, and then slid the motor mount in here through the hatch. I don't know how you could possibly slide this all in here together, but whatever. It's still got some decent amount of everything's only hand tight, but it's still yeah, there's a ton of space there. Apparently this mount compresses quite a bit, so I'm gonna jack up the engine. Instead of jacking on the cradle, I'm gonna jack on the bottom of the oil pan, and so that will lift just the engine ideally, and then hopefully that hopefully some pressure will be off there, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so jacking on the engine worked great. I lifted it up maybe 1/2 inch, maybe more. Now we can see this sits relatively flush. I thought getting they're 3/4 inch nuts, I thought getting them tightened was going to be difficult, but turns out it's super easy. That's a great design. So I'm planning on tightening that. I don't know, just kind of tighten all of it, see what happens, and lower the engine and see what happens. Okay, I got everything tightened down. I probably did the top guy there, then the bottom guy, then those two bolts, or whatever, and screws, and then lastly those two. And it's pretty good. This thing was sitting pretty flush, maybe 1/8 of an inch on the right side, pretty flush on the left side. And now I want to lower it down, and hopefully this will be compressed. I'll set this right here. I'll set it right there to see how much compression happens. There we go. That's a good barometer. Great. So it didn't compress at all. I'm being sarcastic, of course. This is still like, I mean, this is extremely tight now. Fuck's sake, man. I cannot bear. Fuck's sake. Well, I guess I'm done. I had to take that down a little bit. Take that down a little. It's just, I mean, the engine is way too hot now. I guess I will just hope that that mount settles in. It didn't compress. I mean, it compressed maybe 1/8 of an inch. I don't think even that. Other people said, oh boy, this mount compresses a lot. If it had, it would have been perfect, because I think I was set up really well, but now I just feel like all the weight is right there on that sheet metal, and I don't like that at all. I'm not real happy about it. We'll see. I slid this over. This part is slid over as far to that side as possible. The mount is on this part. It's as far rearward as possible on this. It's pretty much as far this way, which I think will make it. I mean, that should be. Since it's on a slant like that, it should make it a greater distance here. And on the backing plate, this thing is shifted as far to the passenger side as possible. Yeah, we'll just see. I mean, if this thing settles in, it might be real nice, but it will have to settle in like more than 1/4 of an inch. Ow. Not happy about that. Just over 1/4 of an inch now. Supposed to be, what, 5/8 or something like that, and it's just barely over 1/4. Like, getting the deck lid on is going to be difficult. Last thing is make sure that it's not going to rub on the belt. It's not remotely in the neighborhood of the belt. I don't know how it could. It's at more than 1/2 inch at the closest point. Okay, it's been about a year since I put in the rear mount. I'm a little concerned about this bend. It seems like it has settled down some, because now it is closer to like, whoops, about 1/2 an inch. I mean, it's right at 1/2 an inch. So it settled down some, but not much. And that bend has me a little concerned. But I don't know. It's better than having it just completely cantilevered off of there. So, and it's running fine, of course. So I think I'm just gonna stick with it.